Hi, ladies. Thanks for joining me on your Tuesday evening. I would appreciate it very much if you could click the share button for me. Whoops, that's not what I want to do. Mary Lou, I am pretty well, thank you. Okay, we're going to start in about 30 seconds. If you're watching, be sure and comment. I am giving away cards tonight. Okay, there we go. I did my sharing also. Inez, I hope you received your paper share today. I heard from a few other people that they received theirs today, so hopefully you've got it and love it. Love all the papers. Hi, Laura. While we're waiting the next few seconds, I just wanted to I just thought this was kind of interesting, and I thought rather than just a lot of jibber jabber waiting for people, I would try to show you something more productive or worthwhile. Oh, Mary Lou, I'm glad you got yours. But anyways, I picked up this book, I believe at Target, that I've been reading, and I wasn't really familiar with the author, Viola Shipman. Some of you perhaps are familiar with Viola Shipman, but you know, just light summer reading, summer romance kind of thing. But anyways, it was interesting. I thought, well, I'll read about the author, and I thought this was so very interesting that Viola Shipman is actually a pen name for Wade Rouse. And he chose his grandmother's name, Viola Shipman, to honor her for passing down heirlooms and family stories that have inspired his writing. So I just thought that was very interesting, really kind of neat. And so far it's a good light summer read, so I might pick up some of his, I don't know if I should say his or her, other books. But definitely found that very interesting. And I guess I didn't really think of people, authors nowadays, using pen names so much. I believed it was always that it was women way back in the day that were using pen names because women weren't supposed to be writing books, you know? So very interesting. But anyways, a couple of announcements I'll go through really quickly, and I will try to remember to say them again at the end for people who join late. But tonight at 12:01 a.m. Mountain Time, which is actually 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in Ohio, where I am, for the very first time ever, Stampin' Up! Is going to be putting some stamp sets on the clearance rack. This is a first. We've never done it before. We don't know if they're going to do it again even. Stampin' Up! Doesn't know if they're going to do it again. But I just want to make you aware of that. And so that begins tonight, 2 a.m. Will I be getting up at 2 a.m.? Oh, no, because I have a full day tomorrow working with 2 clients and then stamp classes in the evening at my house. But what I want to tell you about that is you are best to order online if you send me your order, which normally I'm very happy to place orders for everyone, but I'm afraid I probably won't even get to those until Wednesday night. So it could be that the stamp sets that go on the clearance rack that you want will be gone by that time. So I'd ask you, for your sake, to go ahead and place your clearance rack order online on my website right here. And it helps me greatly if each time you order online, you use my host code, with the exception of if you order more than $150 in product, because then I want you to get the Stampin' Rewards. But when people use their host codes for ordering $149 or less, that helps me get some free products that I can use to put on more classes and Facebook Lives and do more giveaways. Okay, so that's the reason I ask you to do that. And again, if you're having any trouble with that, I will have a small break in my day between 12:15 and 12:45 tomorrow between my clients, and perhaps a small break between 5 and 6 if I have it all together before I start my classes in the evening. So starting tonight, 2 a.m. Ohio time, stamp sets on the clearance rack. Okay. The second thing I want to tell you about is those of you that have the Stampin' Trimmer and have been waiting to order blades, your day is coming. And blades will be available. They are in the warehouse, and they will be available to order starting 10 a.m. Mountain Time or noon Ohio Eastern Standard Time on June 27th. That's on Thursday. Okay. I do have some time to order that day. My schedule's rather flexible, but again, it is going to be faster for you to get online, place a quick order for blades on that Thursday, rather than me trying to key everybody's in, and by the time I get them in and submit the order, are the blades still going to be there? Okay, because you know how that is. And Stampin' Up is working diligently to get more and more and more. Something I've learned about our Stampin' Trimmer blades is each blade is, I guess you say hand turned, I think is the right term, but they're made by hand, those little metal blades. And the company can only do so much. So that's why we're getting in, you know, these little shipments over several weeks' time. Okay, so be aware of that. And then we have some exciting news coming for July bonus days. And in July and August, we're also going to have a recruiting promotion for people who want to purchase the starter kit, and more details coming on that. Okay, so tonight's demonstration features the Two-Way Wild Rose stamp set. It is a stamp set that was inspired and designed with Mary Ellen Byler. I almost forgot her name. Demonstrator Mary Ellen Byler, as part of her reward for reaching $1 million in career sales. I hope to be one of those people that sometime. It does have a coordinating stamp or a die set, and you can buy them as a bundle. Tonight we are I'm just using the stamp set, okay, to teach you this fun technique. So basically, here's a card I made, and I first embossed with white, and I'm using a whitewash technique, okay? If you're watching, be sure and comment. I am giving away cards tonight, but you have to comment in order for me to enter you into the drawing for the free cards, okay? And also, if you would click the share button, I greatly appreciate that. Thanks, ladies. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this, but here is one I've made, okay? And the colors I used here are terracotta tile and garden green. It's interesting that this terracotta tile turns out so the color is very different with the technique, okay? And then I also have two more to show you. So this was terracotta tile and garden green ink, okay? And these two were made with the Calypso Coral ink on the flowers, and then I did Granny Apple Green on these leaves, and then I did Granny Apple Green with some garden green over the top. But you can see how the colors vary quite a bit. Here's what the Calypso Coral color actually looks like, okay? So it's quite different. And if you can see this, I actually, on this one I put Granny Apple Green behind, but look at how, I'm trying to pull it out. Look at how this flower ends up being more like the Rococo Rose cardstock rather than the Calypso Coral, which is the ink I used here, okay? So let me show you this technique. And I think it's really fun, but I just wanted you to be aware of the fact that with this technique, the colors do look different. The colors do change from what they would normally be, okay? And I'll show you why that is. This is called a whitewash technique, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is some embossing. I'm using my embossing buddy here. Does everybody know what the embossing buddy is for? Okay, the embossing buddy basically takes away any static. I'm looking for here. Basically takes away any static that is on your cardstock, and that is because you don't want embossing powder to be heated and be where you don't want it to be. Okay, so I'm using the embossing buddy, and then I'm going to use Versamark ink. Well, that's kind of an ugly looking pad, isn't it? But that's okay. I'm going to be using Versamark ink, and I'm going to stamp a flower at the top. I kind of like to go off my paper a little bit. This might be hard for you to see right now until I get it embossed, but the Versamark ink is basically a very tacky ink, and it shows up clear, but then you add embossing powder to it, and it'll be whatever color the embossing powder is, so silver or gold. Today I'm using white. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put my embossing powder on here first because I want to do that before this ink dries. And then I just tap it off, okay? And then, I think that's pretty good. And then before I heat that, I'm going to stamp the sentiment also in the Versamark ink. Okay, put the ink aside. Carefully, I'm going to put some embossing powder there. I like to tap it off, tap off the excess. That looks pretty good. You just want to make sure you have embossing powder in all the areas that were stamped with the Versamark. If it looks like you don't have enough, just add a little more. Okay, dip it in, shake it off. You can always pour it on like this. You can spoon it on, or you can just scoop it like I do. Okay. I'll set that aside. I'm going to use this clothespin. I think my friend, who is this from? I think my friend Marilyn Goodrich made these quite a while back when she was a demonstrator. It's got a magnet there, so you could also use it to hold pictures and messages and different things on your file cabinet or your refrigerator. But I like to use them to hold my cardstock while I'm heat embossing so that I don't burn my finger. Don't get it too hot. Ladies, it's so nice to see many of you on here. And every time I do one of these, I see people from different parts of the country, and that is amazing. Amazing and fun. And if you haven't heat embossed, can you see how that powder is melting? Okay. So the powder's melting, okay? And you can see it happening, okay? Then give it a good look. When all of it looks like it's melted, it'll have sort of a glossy look to it. That means it's finished, and it dries almost instantly. You don't have to worry about giving it some drying time, okay? So now we are going to do the whitewash part of the technique. I have Whisper White Craft Ink, okay? Beth, I am using the Crumb Cake cardstock right now. Crumb Cake cardstock, Versamark ink, and white embossing powder, okay? And now I am using white craft ink, okay? I've got a aqua painter filled with just water. I'm not really going to squeeze it, but it kind of, I'll show you, it just kind of keeps the tip wet, okay? But what I'm going to do is just drag this through my white craft ink pad. And then I'm going to just color lightly, okay? Your paper may ripple a little bit, but that's okay. That's because the cardstock absorbs some of that water. And that's why you really don't need to squeeze it. Just work with it the way it is, okay? And I'm going to cover all those embossed images. Oh, I'm getting a little sloppy there. The sun from my window is hitting me right in the eye again, but honestly, I think having that natural light come in makes for a better video. But right now it's hitting me just right in my eye, kind of blinding me. Okay. I think that's pretty good, and we can always add more if we like, but I think I got it all. Okay. And now ordinarily, if I would be, and you know how I am, I usually make 2 cards at a time. I would set this one aside, let it dry, and I would do the same steps with the other one. However, for the sake of time, I'm going to dry it with my heat tool. Okay, and it will dry real quickly. And notice I just kind of move it around a little bit, kind of make tiny circles. If you're doing like this, it's hard to emboss and it's hard to dry. Just keep it moving, but do small areas. Okay? All right. Okay, that seems pretty good. Now, I'm going to use a different aqua painter, and I'm going to paint some color over this, okay? I'm going to step away from some of the colors I just used. Does anybody, I have a color in mind. Does anybody else have a color in mind? I'll give you a couple seconds to think about it. I was thinking I'd pull Gorgeous Grape And you be thinking of a color for the leaves, a nice green. Okay. So with my aqua painter, and I want to make sure it's clean, so I just rub back and forth on a piece of paper, and when it rubs clear, then I know it's clean, okay? And the reason I say that is you can switch colors. You don't need a whole lot of these. I happen to have a whole lot of them because I use them in classes, but they come in a set of 2. And Mary Lou, Old Olive, you got it, girl. Oh, wait. No, you don't, because pick another green, because Old Olive is not here. It's in the other room ready for my class tomorrow. But anyways, I'm going to drag the aqua painter through and just go ahead and I'm going to move this. You'll want to have scrap paper underneath. So if you go over the edges, it will absorb. Okay. And basically this whitewash gives everything just a more, how should I say, you get more of a muted color than if I would be coloring just like that. When it dries, it'll be more muted, okay? And of course, you can make it lighter or darker if you like. You could, Melissa, I can grab the pear pizzazz. Sorry about that, Mary Lou. I guess I should have limited the choices, huh? But anyways, I'm going to let that dry. And if you're in a hurry, take a tissue or paper towel and just dab that a little bit. You can even use just a piece of scrap paper. You just don't want to move it around. And the reason I say that is it'll pick up some of that excess ink, but it also pulls the ink off because the ink is not going to dry on those those white embossed areas, okay? Now you might want to go back in and make some of these even darker. And you can certainly do that. Okay. So you're getting kind of a, I would say like a chalky watercolor effect. Okay. And then I'm going to clean this off. Okay. And that way I can use it with the next color. And I'm going to go to the Pear Pizzazz. Thanks for that suggestion, Melissa. Same thing, I'm just going to drag my aqua painter through and I'm going to go over all the leaves. And of course you can certainly blend colors. I mean, you might have, with this gorgeous grape, you might want to do some Highland Heather in there, or perhaps some yellow around the center. But, you know, just feel free to create. But isn't it easy? And you can tell, this is quick coloring. This is quick coloring with the aqua painter. You don't have to get all worry about being so specific. But yet, whoever you give this card to, the people are going to say, wow, okay? Alrighty. So what do you think of that? We need to let it dry a moment. Okay. Oh, I love the purple with it. Okay. Let me show you. I'll cut a piece of gorgeous grape to back that. Whoops. Let's see, I cut that, I have to think a second, 4 3/4. So this is going to be 4 7/8 by 3 5/8. Okay. But you can see it is different. Now this one seems to, no, I cut that the wrong size. Okay. This one is, okay, so I need 5 1/4 by 4. Sorry about that, ladies. It's the next sample that I cut differently. course, the To a Wild Rose is in the annual catalog. And I did read that when Mary Ellen Byler was designing this, she did it with her grandmother in mind. And Mary Ellen is, I believe she's Amish, either Amish or Mennonite. But she was just recently married, and I saw that she had, that she made wedding favors with her stamp set that she helped design. Isn't that pretty? Okay, and now we'll just back it. I have so much stuff here. I say that every time, don't I? It's never going to change, so I don't know why I keep saying it. Okay. So that's that. Now, again, it's not quite dry, but it's pretty close to dry. So what do you think? Oh, Leah, you love the colors? Great. Great. Vicki, you do too. Awesome. If Joyce Lutterby's watching, I know she loves it because purple is her favorite color. Okay, so now let me show you another variation, okay? And notice too, you can make so many variations, okay? Here I changed up the size of the cardstock border as opposed to this one. This just has an 1/8 inch border. This has the 1/4 inch border. Here, this was pretty much the same. I just changed up the ink colors I used. And then on this one, I made a vertical or portrait card rather than horizontal. So simple changes. You get one layout or one idea and you just tweak it and make it your own. Okay, so this is the next one. On this one, the variation is that I only used the whitewash. I only used the craft ink to whitewash the flowers and leaves. And you can see how it's left with a more subtle, this color is Poppy Parade, okay? Yes, Melissa, try it with different colors. Definitely try it with different colors. And again, when you're doing this technique, the colors can vary a bit. Like I showed you in the beginning, these two cards I used Calypso Coral ink pad, okay? And look at the difference between that when I use this whitewashing technique and the color of the true Calypso Coral, okay? Yes, Melissa, thank you. To a Wild Rose is the name of the stamp set. To a Wild Rose. There it is again, okay? Now let me show you this one, okay? And I did the whitewashing on this a little bit different. Oh, Beth, I love that idea. Use it with red for Valentine's Day, yes. And you know what? I personally enjoy some of the deep colors as well. Like when you're using this technique instead of doing it on craft or crumb cake color cardstock and using the true colors of the cardstock, I think it would be great with Mary Merlot. What else? Blueberry Bushel, Pretty Peacock, Cherry Cobbler. How cute would that be? Especially at Christmas time as well. Real red, okay? So let me show you how I did this one because it is a little bit different, okay? I'm going to go back to stamping and again, I am using my Versamark ink. It stamps clear, but it's because it is intended to use with your colored embossing folders, okay? What was I going to do? I had something in mind and I completely forgot. Okay, I know you're terribly surprised like that by that, right? I'm never forgetful. Okay, I'm going to do some leaves as well. And I always love things to go off the paper a bit. Okay. And then I think here I'm going to do Blessed to Be Your Friend. This is actually 2 stamps. Okay, all of these words are individual stamps. Okay, so I combined Blessed to Be Your Friend, and I have it on one clear block, so I can stamp both at the same time. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put my white embossing powder on now. And again, whichever way you feel comfortable, you can pour it right from the little jar. Just move it around a bit. Oh, I forgot to use my embossing buddy, so hopefully I don't have any stray embossing powder. Okay, I don't know if you can see this, but I have a couple spots here and in this corner that really do not have enough of the embossing powder, so I'm just going to add a little bit more. Okay, tap it off. Tapping it on a hard surface or clicking it on the back usually gets rid of some of those stray bits if you forgot to use the embossing folder or embossing buddy like I just did. Okay, I'm going to use my clothespin to hold it and turn on my heat tool and watch the magic. I don't know about you, but every time I do heat embossing, I get this little thrill, like, oh, how cool is this that we have a tool, I just hit it, that can do this. Well, that's a bummer. I just knocked it with my... I just hit it with my heat tool while I was talking. That's not good. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to flip it over and do the back side because I am not going to like that, and I am not going to want to give that one away. Okay, does that ever happen to you? You're moving along well, and then all of a sudden you make a mistake and you're like, oh, darn. I want to look and see how I had it. I know you probably thought I was perfect at stamping, right? But now the secret's out. I'm not. I highly doubt I fooled you, though. I'm sure that's not the first time you've seen me make a mistake. Okay. So we shall try again. Okay, so more embossing powder. Mary Lou, I agree, it is kind of mesmerizing. And I always love when my customers see it for the first time. Oh, for heaven's sakes, this is pitiful, ladies. What did I do? Okay, scrap that. I'm starting over. I can't even stand that one. And I'm trying to remember what the size was. I believe it was 4 3/4 by 3 1/2 for this one. And third time is a charm, right, ladies? This is it. Third time's a charm. But I'm sure it's going to be worth the wait to whoever gets the beautiful card after tonight's live. Some of you watching now, I know, have been winners of some of the Facebook cards and projects at times. I hope you enjoy getting them as much as I enjoy making them with you and then giving them away. And speaking of giving away cards, did you know that I give 5 free hand-stamped cards to everybody that places... Oh, Inez, I wasn't watching. I forgot to use the embossing buddy. Ah. Too bad I can't have you guys on microphone. There's also a delay is part of the problem too. Okay. Well, that's better. Okay, I'm satisfied now. Thanks for your patience, because I don't know about you, but if I'm sending out my work, I want it to be my best work. Okay. Oh, Beth, you got some cards. Great. Now, what I'm going to show you is, on this whitewashing card, is that instead of using an aqua painter, I'm going to be using a blender pen. And with a blender pen, the white craft ink even goes on even a little bit thicker. So really, it's just a matter of preference, which you like better. I personally prefer to use the aqua painter for this technique, but I know there are people who prefer using the blender pen. And notice I said blender pen, not Stampin' Blends. They're two different things. Okay. All right. So now I've got my blender pen. Okay, so we've used aqua painters, come in packs of 2, and you fill them with water. Okay. Blender pens, I believe, comes in packs of 3, and they have the same end on each. And what you can do is you can actually use them like Stampin' Right markers just by picking up some ink and coloring. Okay. So if you want a particular marker and you don't want to buy an entire color family set, the Stampin' Blends are the way to go. And you just do this. You clean it until it comes clear, and then you can switch it out to another color. Okay? But what I'm going to do now is drag it through the white craft stamp pad, craft ink pad. And I'm just coloring this on. And like I said, it goes on a little bit thicker. So it's going to be a little bit more opaque. Might require a little bit longer time to dry because it is going on thicker. One thing is afterwards, you do want to be sure, especially the aqua painter and the blender pens where you're putting the white craft on ink on them, you want to be sure to clean those very, very well, okay? Otherwise they're going to get gunky and you can't use them with anything else, okay? And drying on there wouldn't be good, okay? I'm going to start by coloring in this center of the flowers. Okay, and remember on this one, on the Poppy Parade card, I did everything with the blender pen. I did all of the whitewashing on the leaves and all the flowers with this blender pen. Okay. I'm going to do something a wee bit different this time though. Okay. What I'm going to do here is now combine the use of both the blender pen and the aqua painter. Okay, I'm going to drag that through my craft ink. Give this a little squeeze. Okay. Okay, and you can see the difference here, can't you? From using just the blender pen to here using the aqua painter. Okay. The blender pen is giving us a little more opaqueness to our coloring, and the aqua painter is giving us more of a chalky watercolor look. Okay. And I love how this technique is letting some of that cardstock color behind shine through. Okay. And you can always go lighter with your whitewash too. You can really make it, you can water it down a little bit more, I guess is what I'm saying. Hi, Deb Snyder. I haven't seen you in forever. Deb Snyder is one of the very first Stampin' Up! Leaders I've ever met when I went to my first founder circle many years ago. Okay, so that's that. Okay, I think I'm going to back this with some white before and by the way, this color is Blackberry Bliss. I'm going to back this with some white. If I can find my snail. Snail, snail, where are you? Oh, for heaven's sakes. It's right here, isn't it? Does anybody see it? That's crazy. Here it is. Okay, I've already added some white to my inside of my card. I think this is pretty dry now too. And again, you've already got your heat tool out for this technique. So you can certainly use it to speed up some of the drying time, especially if you're only making 1 or 2 cards. If you're making multiple cards, just do them like assembly line style. You can stamp and emboss each one, and then you can go and color each one with the blender pen, and then you can go back and color with the aqua painter. Okay, so here is the second version. Okay, so here was the first version of the whitewashing technique. Okay, and a couple more I did. I love that Rococo Rose there. And again, believe it or not, the Rococo Rose cardstock goes with this flower, and I use the Calypso Coral ink on it. So keep in mind when you're doing these, you might even want to try some out on different colors of cardstock before you get right down to your card making. Okay, here's one in the vertical position, very same thing. Okay, I used Granny Apple Green there. Here we use Gorgeous Grape and Pear Pizzazz, love it. And then on these two, we simply did the whitewash technique on just the cardstock, no other ink colors, okay? Just the white craft. And this one was done all with the blender pen. All of these, I put the whitewashing on with an aqua painter, and then I followed up with the different colors of ink also with the aqua painter, okay? On this one, I colored all of that whitewash with a blender pen. On this one, I colored the whitewash using the blender pen for the leaves and the centers of the flowers. And then I filled in doing the whitewash with the aqua painter so that I had kind of a two-tone on my flowers. Okay, now keep in mind too that when you do this, you can always combine colors in your flowers as well. You might have had maybe a purple center in here, a gorgeous grape, or you might have pulled in a crushed curry over here. Okay, so don't be afraid to experiment and play with your colors. Okay, so I'm going to be sending some of these out today, and so if you commented, your name will go into the drawing. I'm going to do a quick recap of my announcements from earlier. Okay, starting tonight, 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. For the first time ever, Stampin' Up! Is putting some stamp sets on the clearance rack. We've had all kinds of things on the clearance rack in the past, but never have we sold stamp sets on the clearance rack. Okay, I don't know if they'll do it again. I don't think Stampin' Up! Yet knows if they're going to do it again, but they're giving it a try. All of those stamp sets are on the clearance rack until they run out. Anything on the clearance rack is while supplies last only, including the stamp sets going on tonight. Okay, your best bet to get them before they are sold out is to place your order on my website. Okay, and I appreciate it very much if you use my June host code so that I can keep earning points to get products that I can share with all of you and use as incentives for ordering and more Facebook Lives, things like that. It helps me greatly. Okay. And the second announcement, that is, if you have a Stampin' Up! Trimmer, a Stampin' Trimmer, and you have been waiting to get blades, a shipment has just come into the warehouse. So Stampin' Trimmer blades, cutting blades, will be available to order on June 27th at noon Eastern Standard Time. Okay, 10 a.m. Mountain Time or noon Eastern Standard Time. Again, the best way to ensure that you can get something, some of those cutting blades, is to order directly on my website. You can put your order in within minutes. Okay, if I collect all of your orders, it takes me longer to key in those orders for several of you people. And then by the time I get them in and submit the order, they may be gone. Chances are you will be able to get them faster than I can get them for you. Okay. If you have trouble with online ordering on Thursday for the blades, you can try to call me. I have lots of things on my schedule for that day, both in and out of the house. If you are needing assistance ordering the clearance items online, my only availability tomorrow really is 12:15 to 12:45 to take a phone call. I'll need you to call me on my cell number. Or I might have a little bit of time between 5 and, I'd say like 5 and 5:45 before my stamp classes tomorrow evening. Otherwise, it's going to be after 9:30. Okay? And more good news. In July, we are going to have bonus days where you can earn a $5 coupon code for every $50 of product that you order. And then you can redeem those codes towards your products, towards other new products in the month of August. A second promotion we have going on beginning July 1st is our extra recruiting promotion. People who purchase the starter kit will be able to choose an additional $30 in product over the usual $125 in product. So a starter kit is you choose $155 of product, and you pay just $99 plus sales tax, and you get your starter kit shipped free. Okay, an amazing savings. Okay, amazing savings. You're basically getting, it's like $56 plus, what would the shipping be on one? And plus $15.50, which would be the savings on shipping. So great, great deal. Okay, and no, you don't have to do Facebook Lives or have classes or do Stampin' Up! Parties if you don't want to. If you do, I am happy to help you with all those things. And I have a great team. Some of the people do that, and we all share and help each other. And many, many, many people on my team are simply on the team because they enjoy the camaraderie. They enjoy being a part of a group where we share and we do card swaps and have creative challenges and meet for some fun events during the year also. And they just enjoy the discount they get on all their Stampin' Up! Purchases, okay? And the other thing is that when you join in July or August, when you purchase that starter kit with the extra $30 in product in July or August, they are going to send you a $10 coupon code that you can use the following month on your next purchase. Okay, so whatever you purchase after that, you would get your 20% discount, plus you would get that $10 coupon to use. Okay, sounds great. If you need more information on that, I would love it if you would sign up to be on my email list, because then you will receive my weekly newsletter, and I'll always have the links and details on there. I have an entirely new email newsletter format as of this month that I'm very excited about, and I'm also offering free project sheets for cards and various things each week. So thanks for spending your Tuesday evening with me. I wish you a peaceful and happy evening doing whatever it is you love to do. Okay, thanks for joining me. My next Facebook Live will be on my VIP group, Stampin' Peace VIP group. If you're not already on there, go to that site on Facebook and request to join, and I'll approve you and you're in. But I will see you there on Thursday at 2 p.m. Okay, and I'm not quite sure what we're doing yes I do. Well, I don't know exactly what the projects are yet, but I do